Hey yo, there is one thing that I learned in chapter 106 of Kaiju number 8. And that is the fact that the humans have one person on our side that is just as good at planning as Kaiju number 9 is. One person that knows how to play the game of chess, maybe just a little bit better, G. And that is none other than the GOAT, Soshiro Hoshina. Seeing Hoshina teach Kafka a mixture of Squadron style with Hoshina style to create a new perfected style to go against Kaiju number 9 was lit, dog. And on top of that, Kafka pulling out the big guns? Come on, yo. And if any of y'all say that I'm frail, you gotta see me. You gotta see me. But on a real note, the rest of this chapter was not that surprising. It makes sense that Kaiju number 9 can use Isao's technique because number 9 absorbed the Isao. We talked about that last chapter review. But the thing that makes me a lot more weary than anything, two things that make me weary, is just the absolute amount of destruction that is happening in the Tachikawa area is very reminiscent to me of like Lord Beerus versus Goku, where there was so much destruction happening on Earth that they literally said, we can't fight here because everybody is in danger whenever we are fighting. And then the second thing is the fact that Kaiju number 9 is not pulling any tricks out the bag yet. He is just fighting Kafka as is. Kafka by the end of this chapter is starting to get to the point where he is pulling his tricks out of the bag that he needs to in order to beat Kaiju number 8. This will be one of Kafka's first elongated fights that he's ever been in. Most of his other fights are always one punch, two punch, we're done. This is going to be a long fight. Can Kafka last the course of time? And based off what we're seeing early, I don't know that Kaiju number 8 can do this by himself. But thankfully, we got Mina in the area. Is Mina just getting destroyed from the rubble right now, bro? Oh my gosh. Hopefully Bako took her away. Bako was down on the ground. I'm just talking, man. Let's get into it. Yeah, so first things first, there's going to be some haters watching this video that are going to tell you I'm lying, but I actually just recently joined the 3rd division, and because of that, they gave me some free merchandise, bro. They gave me this free Kaiju number 8 shirt, since Kaiju number 8 represents our division, and then they gave me this free $500 million necklace, G. I know you wish you had that, but it's exclusive. So chapter 106 starts off extremely action-packed, yo. There's almost no words in the beginning, and it is just straight smoke between Kaiju number 8 and Kaiju number 9. We see them throwing punches at each other, and a lot of these hits are happening so powerfully and so quickly that you can't even see the motion of them moving in these panels, dog. All we are seeing is literally sheer destruction happening all throughout the Tachikawa area. And that's terrifying. And if you flash back to or I guess not flash back, but go over and look at where all of our higher ups are sitting and watching this fight ensuing, even they are saying, hey, there's way too much destruction happening during this fight. And even more so, Kaiju number 9 is not even being hurt from these punches that Kaiju number 8 is throwing at it. Number 9 is bracing himself and is ready for all of these hits. I think one thing that was crazy for me to see is that, hey, whenever number 9 was fighting against Mina, he at least was pulling out that Kaiju number 2 shield to block those shots that Mina was shooting at him. Number 9 is literally blocking Kafka's punches right now with just his forearms, not using that shield that he naturally has with Kaiju number 2. So I'm not saying that Kafka's punches aren't strong, but I'm just trying to give you a glimpse of just how much Kaiju number 9 is withholding right now. Just how much he's not showing all of his cards right now. This was a scene where it looked hype, but it immediately turns to despair when Kaiju number 9 says, I know that technique that you're doing because I already absorbed Isao. He punches his hands together just like Kafka and Isao does, and they both end up throwing the same attack at the same time. Squadron style technique number 2, force blast. Once those attacks cancel each other out, we saw one of the most diabolical panels, but cool panels at the same time when Kaiju number 9 reveals half of his face to be Shinomiya and the other half to be Kaiju number 9 still, and lets Kafka know that you are not strong enough to use this technique on me because I literally know the exact same moves that you're gonna do, and sends Kafka flying back with the punch afterwards. And as we see him flying, we fly into a dope flashback, bro. A flashback of Hoshina talking to Kafka prior to the war and prior to fully training him in Squadron style technique. Hoshina fully knew this whole time that Kafka, no matter how good you get at Squadron style technique, Isao is the one that perfected that. And if you go and fight Kaiju number 9, you're not going to win. It won't work. Hoshina straight up knows from the get-go, Kafka, we can't win if we do this. But there's also a fighting style called Hoshina combat technique. And we are going to mix Hoshina combat technique with Squadron style technique to create a new combat technique that will surpass anything that Isao could have ever even amounted to. And the thought of that, the thought of what we are going to get next chapter when Kafka fully unleashes everything that bro has learned across these last few months, bro. Yo, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Kafka's about to unleash in Kaiju number 9, and it gets me so gassed up, bro. But outside of the Kaiju number 9 and Kaiju number 8 fight hype factor, Soshiro Hoshina is the biggest genius in this series, yo. From the get-go, we have just been shown time and time again how much work Hoshina is willing to do to ensure victory for the defense force, bro. How much knowledge Hoshina is willing to gain in order to help out everybody. Hoshina was the first one that had inklings about Kafka being Kaiju number 8. Hoshina was the one that figured out some research information, or at least let us know about the possibility of where Kaiju come from. Hoshina was the one that had the idea of preparing surprise factors that Kaiju number 9 couldn't be ready for heading into this war. Hoshina literally prepared our best fighting factor, Kaiju number 8, and equipped it with efficient enough fighting to take out the strongest daikaiju that Japan has ever faced. If it was not for Hoshina, dog, I don't care how much Kaiju number 8 does. I don't care how mad Kafka gets. Hoshina is the reason that we will even have a chance in this war to begin with. We probably wouldn't have prepared surprise factors the way that Hoshina recommended. Kafka wouldn't be ready to scrap with Kaiju number 9. Kaiju number 10, who knows if that would have even been able to be taken out into the field and be in use with anybody else other than Hoshina. It's just, hey bro, there is a reason why Hoshina is my favorite character, and I know many of y'all watching this video will attest to the fact that Hoshina is your favorite too. And chapters like this show exactly why, bro. He is a mastermind. Hey, Kaiju number 9 is playing chess, but Hoshina is playing 4D chess. It is not the same. There are levels to it right now. And we see that at the end of this chapter, bro, when Kafka gears up to throw out his Squadron style technique number 3, and number 9 says, why are you doing this, bro? I know that technique too. Until Kafka mixes it up, bro. He modifies it with the Hoshina style combat, makes his stance a little bit deeper, and twist and thrust up into Kaiju number 9 with enough centrifugal force that it literally looks like number 9 is warping because of how hard this punch is. The electricity coming out of the punch, seeing number 9's body morph, seeing number 8 put everything he had into hitting number 9. I know y'all feel just as gassed as I was seeing that last panel, and I cannot wait to see what else Kafka has in store. But this is going to be one of the first moments that number 9 is probably going to start feeling a little bit pressed, bro. And right as soon as number 9 starts feeling pressed is when he is going to get serious. And that is going to be scary, bro. What sort of things is number 9 going to pull out his bag? What ways has number 9 found to mix up his attacking style with Kaiju number 2's attacking style to create something new for himself as well? We haven't seen Kaiju number 9 even use a force blast yet, and the first thing that Kaiju number 9 did whenever he absorbed Isao, bro, was take his finger and shoot off that force blast that was so big that it destroyed buildings. So number 9 is nowhere near done for yet. This is not going to be something that is going to hinder number 9 on some crazy levels. Will it affect him? Yeah, this is probably going to be the first punch that Kafka hits number 9 with, that number 9 is going to feel it. Like I said, he's going to feel pressed. But then we are finally going to see the villain come out and start bringing his bag out too. So, hey, yo, 2 fights into this fight, or 2 chapters into this fight, and I got no complaints. Just as hyped as it's ever been, and I can't wait for chapter 107. But I do think that chapter 107 is when the tide might start shifting towards the end of it and start looking a little bit more in favor for Kaiju number 9. And also is going to provide us with our outlet for Kafka to get his power up, dog. This is going to provide us with a chance. Kafka is going to feel himself losing it, man. He's going to feel himself losing everything that he's fought for. His opportunity to fight by Mina's side. His opportunity to look like a role model for Reno and Kikoru. His opportunity to keep on serving in the defense force. And whenever he feels that slipping away from him, he is going to lose it. The same way that he felt all of that slipping away from him whenever he first ever fought Isao and Kaiju number 8 took over. So, not only are we seeing two daikaiju fight right now, but we're going to see a heightened form of Kafka and a lost control form of Kafka fighting number 9. And that is where I think Kafka is going to get his next power up. That is what is going to allow Kaiju number 8 to be strong enough to take out Kaiju number 9. We're finally going to have Kaiju number 8 communicating with Kafka the same way that Kaiju number 4 communicated with Kikoru. And whenever they communicate, I don't know what chapter it's going to be, but come back to this video, because that is when we will see Kafka unlock his true potential, yeah. But until that, we will keep reading, and I will be here in a couple of weeks. I gotta drop a video on Isao too, man. He's slowly, like, he's always been one of my favorite characters, but as of late, bro, it's hard not to say he's my favorite character over Hoshina. But regardless, man, if you watch this video, as always, arigato. I'll be dropping another Kaiju video coming up here probably next week, not this week. We'll kind of see what ends up happening, but I will catch y'all later, and have a good one. Peace.